Athletes, another podcast here for you guys. What we really want to jump in today is Paul and I want to talk through the importance of when you're evaluating performance. This could be after practice, after game, after tournaments. Hopefully, you're getting into some journals with this and writing things down. But what we want you to do is start with the things that you did well. Again, if it's after practice, games, tournaments, whatever it might be, whether it's you're driving home with your parents or driving yourself home, take some time to evaluate the things that you did well, and along with that, why you did those things well. So I think we let it go. We usually overanalyze, really analyze the things that we need to work on, and there's value in that. But as Paul and I talk through this with you, there is also huge value, and in my opinion, probably more value in thinking about the things that you did well and why you did those things well and hone in on that. So, Paul, welcome back to the podcast. You take it from here.
Sounds good. Yeah, we're excited to get into this. I think it's always been obviously really valuable to evaluate the things that are not going well for you, because it's the things that you hold up a mirror and say, this is what needs to improve in an area of weakness. And if we only focus on what we're doing well, obviously we'll miss some of our blind spots, and that's fine. However, the ability to build on the good, the ability to keep going, stay motivated, for lack of a better word, because you can see the good that you're doing, makes this a really, really important skill to have. And so looking forward to unpacking that more and figuring out how we can help you be better at evaluating what you're doing well, because it is very important. You're right.
Let's jump into it. Why is this such an important piece? Let's start with that. Like, what do you think is so valuable about taking a look at the good?
So the first thing that comes to my mind with this is, just like anything, when we see incremental success, that makes it a lot easier for us to want to continue down this path that we're on, if in a good way. So put it in like a weight room perspective. When we are able to increase the weight that we are lifting, that incremental success feels good. What does it mean in the big picture? Nothing other than like, oh, that was very motivating for me to continue doing what I'm doing, and knowing that being in the weight room is a good thing for us to do. In the same way that evaluating your mental performance can be like being in the weight room, it helps to know what is going well from a mental performance standpoint or from a physical standpoint, because there's nothing wrong with evaluating what you're doing well physically. But we want to make sure we don't rob ourselves of the opportunity to say, this is working in these ways, in these positive ways, and that's why I should keep doing this. Because if we only focus on the negative all the time, we're humans. Like, let's be honest, that's going to get tiring and frustrating, and we're not going to be able to look up and be able to see how far we've come, or all the things that we're doing right. And so I would worry, if you never did this, that you would find yourself being like, that journaling thing kind of stinks, because all I do is ever beat myself up, instead of being like, oh no, I look at that, like, look at what I did well that day. That felt pretty good. I'm willing to be more honest with myself now about even what I wasn't doing well, because at least I gave myself some credit. So that's the first and foremost thing that comes to mind. I don't know if there's anything you want to add to that, but I think that's really important for that reason.
No, 100%. I don't need to add anything to that. It keeps us in a more even keel, a better mindset, happier to show up every day, knowing we're contributing, knowing we're doing things well. So just in the general umbrella, the big umbrella of things, hugely important to lean into that stuff. What else? What else do you see as important?
Yeah. I'm going to take a line from a coach that I've coached with, that I think there's a lot of truth to. It's maybe not something I would 100% put my name behind, but I think there's a lot of truth to it. He says that the notion that you learn more from losing than you do from winning, he doesn't agree with that. He said, when you win, you learn how to win, and when you lose, you learn how to lose. So I'd rather find ways to win so we can learn about the ways that or the things that got us to the place of winning. And again, that's probably too black and white for me as a mental performance coach, but I have a lot of respect for that statement in the standpoint of like, what do we learn from what we're doing well, and then double down on those things so we can keep doing those things really well. And then ultimately, when we're talking about things like the scoreboard and talking about things like wins and losses, which I don't want to shy away from as being important. We know how we got to that point because we doubled down on the strengths, the process strengths of ours, learning how to win, learning how to succeed, so that we can have more things go our way on the scoreboard, in the stat book or stat sheet, all those types of things, which we never set our sights on, but it's okay to focus on the process of giving ourselves the best opportunity to get those things. And so when you do have victories like what you do well, we learn more from those things sometimes because we learn how to win. And when you lose, you learn how to lose. So that's the other thing that comes to mind, runs a little bit parallel, and it may not be that black and white, but learn from your successes because then you can double down on them and have even more successes.
Yeah, that's really good. I love that. And again, not 100% black and white, but really good. We talk about like winning's contagious, losing's contagious. So what are the pieces? Winning, what are the pieces? I think it's super important, athletes, to, if you don't know what it felt like to have success, how do you know where you're going? Like if I have a really good at bat and knowing how that felt and the things that led up to that, the physical and mental things that I was doing that led up to that, then I can repeat it. Right? Sometimes we're just banging the drum of negative, or I need to get better at this, but that doesn't give me a goal. So we talk a lot about being in the zone or being in flow. How do you know how to get there if you don't know what it feels like? So the same thing with success. If you know what a great at bat felt like, if you know what your mindset was like, if you know what you were doing on deck and you had this great at bat, then you can repeat that. But if you don't have awareness of those things, like you're just searching for this never ending puzzle piece, you don't know how to get there. So as Paul just said, like reflecting on what I did well and why, I want to kind of break that down a little bit deeper. So you can take this in a few different areas. What did I do well physically? Okay. So if I got an outside pitch and I drove it the other way, or I made a great backhand play, or I scored on a turnaround in basketball, like the physical things that I did well. And then what helped me to do that? And usually, right, Paul, this comes back to engaged practice, engaged effort in those things. But I want to know that too, right? Like, oh, I spent extra time working to the opposite field. I spent extra time working on my turnaround, whatever it might be. Boom, let's go. Now I have a system to get back there again. So looking at the physical things that you did well, looking at the mental things that you did well. How did I recover after I made that mistake? I was playing shortstop. I booted one, but the next ball that was hit to me, I just had an outfielder talking to me about how he struck out at the plate, went out in the field, and made a diving catch. That's amazing. That's unbelievable mental strength to be able to go back out in the field. How did you do that? Was it just shooting the breeze with your teammates after that at bat? You obviously didn't get down on yourself too much. So physical things that I did well and why, mental things that I did well and why. I think the last one, and maybe you want to add to these, Paul, relational things. So we're talking about being a great teammate. We're talking about picking other guys up. We're talking about respecting coaches, all these things. So what did I do well in that area? And why would help me to do those? Maybe some things here just off the top of my head. If I do these things really well and I know why I did them, again, it's repeatable. I'm going to bring that to the next game, the next tournament. I'm going to try to go there again. If I didn't do them well, yeah, we can get into that. How do I up that? But by starting with what I did well, it gives you these branches of great areas to go down to try to lock in what the reasons I did it well. And again, you can go down from that. Well, I wasn't as good as that. How do I get better? Thoughts, ideas popping into your head on that, Paul?
Those are the three things that we talk about as well: the physical, mental, relational, as far as what you're doing, what's going well, what's not going well. Also journaling pre-practice, which we've talked about what our goals are in those areas. And then part of giving yourself credit or giving yourself a positive evaluation is if you can look back at what your goal was pre-practice, pre-game, and say whether or not you accomplished exactly the thing that you wanted to in those. And so journaling pre-practice kind of sets that up for that. I think the relational one is what a lot of people miss. But it is really, really important. I think we can think of mental goals. I think we can think of physical goals, certainly, probably even more so than mental goals. But what are my relationship goals in each and every day, and how do I achieve those things? And so not to get down too much of a rabbit hole on that, but a lot of your experience and how you feel about how it went, along with your ability to maybe have increased resiliency and feeling this support system is a lot of times comes down to the relationships and the people you share that experience with. And so if you go into a situation where you're like, the relational piece isn't really important to me, not which doesn't make you selfish or a bad person, but I'm just kind of going to be over here doing my own thing. Okay, cool. When things don't go well for you, then you're going to be on your own. Like that's going to be how that is too. And so making a point of having relational goals with your coaches, relational goals with your teammates does benefit you in the long run. It's not just about creating nice, kind friendships so that we can all sit around a campfire and sing songs. It's like literally it will help your performance if you focus on leaning into other people and understanding the value of other human beings in your experience. And so don't have anything to add to that. There's not a fourth category for me, but just touching a little bit more on the relationship side of things. I think that comes to mind for me about that gets missed a lot, I think.
Love it. So let's wrap this baby up. I think we touched on a couple of big points just to wrap it up. The importance of reflecting on, writing down the things you did well and why you did them well, the importance there, just the fun, the overall enjoyment, the going up to the plate, the playing games with confidence and with fun and with a lot of energy. We want to focus on those positive things. To narrow it down a little bit further, if your goal is to get better in the game of baseball, focusing on what you did and well and why will also help you to get better and better from game to game, from tournament to tournament, season to season. So don't think the only way to do that is by focusing on the negative stuff. Just as powerful, if not more, to focus on the good things, lock those in, try to repeat them, bring them back, know in the back of your head, I've had success in this before, super powerful when things aren't going good. I've done this before. I can vividly remember how it felt, the things I do. Let me bring that back. So big picture, more enjoyment, more fun, and big picture as well. It'll help you to get better and better every day you step on the field. Anything else you'd say to wrap this up, Paul?
Nope, that's great. Good stuff.
Awesome. Thanks, athletes, for being here. Go get them here as we finish up the summer, and we'll see you again really soon.